Alright everyone, this is MP Blaze of New Nation, and today I'm bringing you War 4 against Demon. I don't know much about this alliance, I just know that they went 8, 18, 8 in their first 3 wars in deaths, so maybe a little bit easier of an opponent for us. BG1 has Protect, I'm taking Human Torch, Killmonger, and Quake this war, and I will have Path 7 and Path 1, 3 mini-bosses, and the boss. So moving right along to Path 7. Alright, so for timing purposes, I am going to 1 hour boost here. I wanted this Guardian down quick because of the kinetic transference. I didn't want him to gain a lot of power and push him to SP2 and then be trapped in a loop of blocking SP2 and not really being able to attack without pushing him to SP3. And unfortunately, I have to take this Guardian without the Human Torch pre-fight, so he's not going to die as quick as he probably would if this was Human Torch's only pre-fight fight. But yeah, that's the real worry. Push him to SP3, only a few blocked hits. Not really going to parry heavy because his basic attacks are energy based, so it's going to build my smolders and my temperature on its own. I accidentally kind of try to block dodge out of that first one and I end up eating it. But the goal for the rest of the fight is to bait SP1 and dodge the entire thing. You kind of want to wait till you see his arm go forward to dodge it, otherwise you'll go too early and catch the tail end of it. And then the second 2 hits are the easiest to get out of. So nothing besides, as long as you stick to that game plan, there's nothing really to worry about with this fight. But it can definitely get out of hand and go south really quickly, especially if you keep blocking. And that's usually what happens with this node. It's usually someone doesn't play the node well instead of the champ and blocks too much. So you can see my smolders are at 11, but that's just because I'm not blocking that much. Most of my blocks are parry hits or parry blocks. And I'm just saving that SP3 in case I need it to get out of a corner or just to finish him because I think he's going to throw a special that's going to end up sending the fight south. So he's really close to the end, so I might as well throw it now. I believe this finishes him. And down he goes. So even with the rank 3, it took a little bit longer than I expected, but probably with pre-fight it goes a lot faster. Moving on to an easy Quake fight. We're just going to speed it up. This is just Quake and Shake Morningstar. She is a Protect champ, but Quake can bypass that. And there's nothing about this node to worry about when you're quaking, so it's just Quake and Shake. Don't drop the heavy in case she is MD. Obviously don't get hit. And it's just letting the Aftershock do its thing. One more Aftershock and down she goes. So section 1, not too bad. Moving on to section 2, I'm going to take this Stealth Spider-Man with Killmonger. I'm going to 6 hour boost just so that I can take my mini bosses and the boss with the same set of boosts. With Stealth Spider-Man versus Killmonger, there's not much to worry about. As soon as you get the True Strike, fight's pretty much over, and then just get him in a rotation of using SP1 and retaliating it. The SP2, you won't be able to get or trigger the True Strike and retaliate. So there's baiting out the heavy or the evade. Now just building him to SP1. Okay, and then now we bait SP1. He is a little bit stubborn sometimes to throw it. I have taken him on the brute force mini and that can get complicated. But as you can see, True Strike's easy to get off of the SP1. Here we have reverb up, so we're doing some nice damage to counter the vigor. And I decide to go with SP2. And it's just going down nicely. It's going SP1 when I want him to, retaliating to get the True Strike. And he's down. So less than a minute. Not really much to worry about. It was nice to bring Killmonger today. Moving on. I was going to have White Magneto pre-fight for this, just so that it went a bit smoother or a bit faster, and so that I had a longer stun in case the Limber kicked in and made it an issue. But I am going to Quake and Bake this fight. Triggering the Dex here when a concussion isn't up is going to shock you, and Doom's animation or AI has been throwing random heavies, so sometimes getting the shock on in the past used to be okay as long as you Quake and Shake and never basically baited a heavy, but now he throws it randomly. And you can see here, this next Aftershock is going to finish him. We didn't miss one. I was a little worried about that fight, but not much to worry about. Moving on to our last Quake fight, we're going to take this rank 5 Hulkbuster. And it's just a Quake and Shake fight. Nothing special about it. It's increased recovery and vigorous assault, but the concussion prevents the only healing buff he gets near the end of the fight, so we don't really have anything to worry about. The armor up buffs don't affect Quake's evadability. I'm assuming it's because it's a defensive ability, and the armor up effects affect offensive, so it's just a straightforward Quake and Shake fight. Dropping the heavy, you can do it a few times here, as long as you don't put him to SP1. But even if you do, you can get prepared to bait it or just eat it. Well, actually, no, that'll stun you. Don't do that. Yeah. Nothing too special here. This could be taken with a Hyperion. I'm sure Magneto could get away without triggering Protect a few times. Snow doesn't really have too many champions that are just a pain on it. Okay, so because I have the matchup for Stunning Reflection, I have the Stunning Reflection mini boss. I am going to take this with Human Torch without pre-fight so that I can gain power off of Polka Dot power. Game plan here: land and Incinerate off of his heavy, then parry heavy. Once he gets above a bar of power, turtle, beta heavy, and then do a short combo, medium, light, back into blocking without dashing back so that I can push him to SP2 because I want him to use SP2 and not SP1. I'm not going to be able to build temperature enough to prevent miss, but I'd rather have him in SP2 instead of SP1 because you can get cornered pretty quickly if he constantly uses SP1 and you can't hit him because the damage is going to come back at you. So there it is. Placed Incinerate. Now we're parry heavy, watching the stun timer. Stun's back up, so now we're just baiting another heavy. He's not at a bar of power yet, but this next one will put him there. So I decide to just start turtling. There's the combo into block. There's the heavy. Intercepted him. And now he's at SP2 and now he uses it. So he's at about 60%. So that rotation was really good, 30 seconds in. Now we're waiting for that to fall. Now we're back at the same game plan. There's the Incinerate, parry heavy. Not at a bar yet. Gonna parry heavy again because the stun timer's down. Now we're gonna turtle. Okay, now we're gonna combo turtle. He threw a heavy quick. I wasn't ready for that, but I still retaliated. Threw an SP2 because Human Torch will throw the Incinerate before the stun, so it'll remove the stun if it's up. Now baiting out SP2. Being a little stubborn, but he throws it there. This is where it gets interesting. I get dash back intercepted, and luckily he didn't have any charges there, so I didn't receive a poison from that heavy. Try to combo and turtle, but he throws SP1 immediately, so this is where it gets a little interesting. Now I can't hit him, because the damage is going to come back to me when it ends. I could probably finish him, but I have enough health. Let's go ahead and fight off the wall, and he did a full combo into my block, so I was able to retaliate, and down he goes. So, little interesting at the end, but as you can see, Human Torch is a pretty good counter to Mysterio there. Moving right along to the mini boss that made me bring Killmonger, and it's this Mr. Fantastic on this node. I like Killmonger here instead of someone, let's say, like Falcon, because Falcon decreases defensive ability accuracy, and this node has an increased accuracy to evade and auto block. So Falcon won't shut down the evade completely, but a true strike champ like Killmonger will. And Mr. Fantastic specials are very easy to retaliate, so keeping True Strike up the entire fight is very easy. So I'm going to save my parries or use my parries to push him to a bar of power, but once I get him to a bar of power, it's over. So here he is, SP1, we bait it. Throws it, and we retaliate it. Now we got the true strike. Now he's pretty much screwed. You're gonna see me block without parrying so that he throws a heavy and so that the limber doesn't screw up my timing with trying to dash back from a heavy. I threw this SP2. You do have to alternate specials because of those debuffs that Mr. Fantastic places. So the next special that I'm gonna go ahead and use is SP3, but we're gonna let these bleed charges build up a little bit through the fight before we do that. Continuously baiting SP1 and retaliating it, keeping that true strike up. Blocking to bait out a heavy when he doesn't have that bar of power. Did a little intercept there. And we're gonna decide to drop this SP3 at about 21 bleed charges just because of how low his health is getting. And here we go. And now we just beat him to death while he bleeds. Baiting out an SP1, keeping the true strike up so he doesn't evade. Down he goes. So, very easy fight with Killmonger. Same thing if Spider-Gwen is here or Stealthy. Alright, so last fight is this boss fight against Mojo with Human Torch. You guys have seen me do this before. I'm going to use the Human Torch pre-fight here. I'm going to slap on an invulnerability boost. Dex is removed. As I said in the last video, it's nice when he's unduped because now his subscribers will drop to 0 instead of 1 when a prompt fails. So during the fight, they're called followers. So followers can only drop to subscribers, and subscribers are his persistent charge at the start of the fight. Can be very RNG dependent, but we're going to do our best to not get cornered here. So game plan as always, when he doesn't have SB1, bait out a heavy. When he does have SB1, bait out SB1. Do blocked hits and do full combos to push him to the wall. Maybe do medium, light, medium to place Incinerate. So first one, dodge a hit. Going to be an interesting one to activate since I don't have Dex, but you can still kind of dodge without Dex. So we get away with not doing that one. This one was hold block. Thought I was going to do well here not triggering it because I know how to not trigger it during the SP1, but the timing didn't work out. So we are at 1 follower. You see that orange thumb up buff there, passive buff on Mojo. So trying to push him back because he's being really aggressive. And I'm getting kind of close to my wall. So next one, dodge a hit. So same thing. Now it's dash backwards. I was against the wall. I threw the SP2 to make some space. Luckily we didn't trigger protect, but now he's at, now he's at SP2. So we block that whole thing, wait a second, and then hit into his block so that we can push him back. Now we just gotta hope he throws SP1 almost every time he gets it, and so far he does that. So perfect, it's building the smolders. We're pushing back with full combos. Still baiting out heavy when he's below a bar, full combos pushing him back. Prompt pushed him to 3 followers. Not quite in a danger zone yet. Throw an SP1 when we want him to. Health is getting nice and low. And it looks like we're about to just finish him without any worries. I've got an SP3 out of the corner if we have to, and down he goes. So a lot better than the last one, even though I did get cornered. But you saw some prompts fail and he started or went right back to 0 or stayed at 0. So that is very helpful to avoid those hater buffs on us. So it was a good war. You'll see BG1 died 2 times, which was unfortunate. But as an alliance, we died only 3 times to Demons 5, which was a little suspect, but they just had a great war. We gave those 3 deaths early, so maybe it just built the confidence and gave him a morale boost to push. But it was a pretty close war and pretty much a nail biter till almost the end. But thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button and follow me on Twitter for the next one.